Hey everybody, DK here with Adventures in Dirt. I want to welcome you to another episode of Digger Spotlight. Hey, glad to see you. I know a lot of people already showing up. I think Nathan Dog is my co-pilot. You were first in, early on the spot. Jay Mart, you were right behind him. So hey, thanks for showing up early, guys. It's glad to see a lot of you starting to show up here in the chat. Hey, I just wanted to welcome you to Digger Spotlight. If you're not familiar, Digger Spotlight is a show I put on twice a month where I'll bring in notable diggers from our metal detecting community. I'll bring them in here for a little one-on-one live stream. We'll get to ask them questions. We'll kind of go back and forth, get to know them a little bit better, and kind of see what they're all about. Tonight's guest is absolutely amazing. Been on YouTube for quite a long time. He's an author. He's a host of a great series on YouTube. He's been all over the place. I'm telling you, he's been in England. He's been under the water. You name it. This guy's been there. I'm telling you. He's a great guest. I can't wait to talk to him tonight. But hey, stay tuned a little bit later tonight. We're going to do a little bit of giveaway. I got a giveaway plan. I usually give away one of my t-shirts here. We'll do that a little bit later. But start thinking of your questions and pay attention to the text scrolling right down below there. If you have a question for either myself or our guest tonight, if you just type at Adventures in Dirt or start typing Adventures in Dirt, it'll highlight it for me if you type that first and then type your question. It just helps highlight it in the chat. So I really appreciate that. But hey, welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get to our guest tonight. You guys know him probably as Dr.Tones, but he's also known as Brandon Ray Neice. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Hey, Brandon Ray Neice, how are you doing? Dr.Tones, there he is.
Pretty good. How about you? Sorry,
Good.
I'm figuring things out still.
No problem. Welcome to Digger Spotlight. Thanks for coming on with me.
Thanks for having me.
All
Excited
right.
to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So hey, yeah, boy, like I said, you're into a lot of things. You've been everywhere. You know, one of my questions today was going to be, where would you like to go metal detect next? You know, so start thinking about that because I know you've been a lot of places, and I don't know, have you been to Australia?
That's first on my list. I was just gonna say Australia.
Yeah,
I think as far as gold, that's the place to be.
yeah,
Other than maybe Alaska or whatever, but I think just the change of scenery because here in Idaho we get a little bit of taste kind of what Alaska would be like. It's not a whole lot different. It's just a lot bigger.
right. Yeah, I just recently had Neil Colston on for Diggers Down Under from Australia. Recently
Yeah.
had him on, and he was telling me about the gold fields out there and the Golden Triangle. And boy, yeah, it sure sounds like a great trip. I'd love to. I do a little prospecting myself, but not a ton. Very recreational, but boy, I'd sure love to get out there sometime.
Yeah, you guys got some decent gold in Colorado. It's not, maybe as much as out in California or Alaska, but you got gold, so that's
Yeah,
a start.
let's start. To get your feet wet, or so they say. Hey, we kind of jumped the gun on you real quick and kind of just started jumping into things. But hey, let's take a look at the chat. Are you able to see the chat on your side?
Yeah.
So who do you see over here? I got.
What's
Looks
up,
like,
guys?
yeah, look, a lot of people in here already. 23 watching around. Plugmaster Ford, I see him.
Oh, we got the Hoover boys watching. What up, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys? Who's watching from the Hoover? Is that Kurt over there? What's up, Kurt?
Kurt, Bradley.
Kurt and Bill. Maybe. Let's see. Florida Rob. Hey, Florida Rob, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Tin Cup Tim, I see. Who else do you see there?
Let's see. Iffy signals.
Iffy Signals. Yeah. What's up there,
up,
Mike?
This is fun.
Yeah.
And now I'm just gonna be entranced. I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna be reading. I'm not paying attention to your questions at all. I'm just reading the
Feel free. I'll just throw you some questions. Again, there's not going to be anything too heavy duty. Again, people in the chat, I always say this. If I ask Brandon a question tonight, why don't you do me a favor and answer the question yourselves in the chat room? So if I talk to Brandon about what kind of metal detector he uses and he starts talking about it, answer the question in the chat. What kind of metal detector do you use? And they'll start a conversation. It'll probably start a metal detector war is what it'll probably start. But keep it clean, and we'll have a good time. We'll have a good time with that for sure. So again, ask your questions in chat. We'll get to them as we can. Hopefully, moderator show up here. I think Tony 5280 Adventure should be along soon, and he'll help corral some of those questions for me.
Awesome.
So hey, I always start all these interviews the same way, Brandon. Why metal detecting? I mean, where did that come from?
It kind of started when I was about third or fourth grade. I grew up in Gold Country, California, and I used to go gold panning and sluicing and high banking with my dad and my grandpa. And when I moved to Idaho, there wasn't as much gold, and I kind of just fell out of the prospecting hobby until I met Eric, aka Dirt Diggler. I wish he could have been here tonight, by the way, but he wasn't able to make it. Girlfriends. Anyway, so like when I met Eric, the first time I met him was at the fire station that I work at, and he was signing up to be a volunteer. And one of the other recruits that was in his academy was asking him prospecting questions, and he brought in a handful of nuggets. And I happened to walk by as he's brandishing these shiny gold nuggets, and I'm like, "Whoa, those are nice!" And they have a very identifiable pattern to them that is only happens in a certain part of the world. And I happen to know where that was. I said, "I know where you've been," and he's like, "Really?" And so he asked me, and I whispered to him like. And he's like, "Really? Oh, you're into prospecting and metal detecting." I was like, "I've never metal detected for gold ever. I've metal detected for coins, just kind of recreationally." But so I got really interested in metal detecting because of gold, and because the nuggets that he had in his hand were bigger than any nuggets that I've ever found prior to that. Like usually when you're sluicing and high banking, you're finding powder. It adds up over time, and that is
Sure.
the majority of gold is like that. But we all want nuggets, let's face it. So, yeah, I got into metal detecting, and I bought some detectors for gold. And then I was like, well, I'm kind of far away from the gold fields. Why don't I get into coin hunting as well? And that just, well, you saw what happened with that. I got a little carried away with coin hunting too.
So what part of Northern California? I grew up in Northern California. So what part of California?
I generally tell people Sacramento because it's kind of the area that they can recognize. But if you want to get specific, I grew up in Rockland, Roseville area.
That's where my mom lives. Yeah, my mom lives in Rockland. All my brothers and sisters up in Loomis.
No kidding.
Yeah, I grew up kind of a little north of there, over by Dobbins and Oroville and kind of
Mm-hmm.
that area. So, but that was when I was younger. I wasn't into the gold collecting then, gold
I
hunting
know.
then.
I look back and I'm like, man, I was lucky to be, growing up in such a cool place. I wish my dad was better at finding gold because that would have helped, but
Yeah.
it was still fun.
So gold prospecting came first, and then metal detecting after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, so you started finding coins, and then that just started led. And I'm sure, like most of us, once you started getting into the hobby, and then the research and the history started hitting you,
Mhm.
that probably really started driving a lot of it, I would guess.
Absolutely. I kind of had that goal, like, okay, silver coin. I just want a silver, something 1964 or before. Let's start there. And it took me like a year and a half to find my first silver coin.
Hmm.
Um,
And what was the
but
first?
then it was a 1964 Roosevelt. I just barely made it.
That'll work.
um, I remember I was on the phone. Actually, my friend Steve had called me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm out metal detecting." He's like, "That's dumb." And I was like, "Hang on a second. I think I just found a silver coin." And then he was interested. Like, "Oh, you actually find cool stuff?"
Do you have an
No,
extra one?
no, this is the first one. And I said, "Steve, I'm gonna need to have you on the phone every time I go metal detecting because you're obviously good luck."
Yeah. How long ago did you move to Idaho?
I moved to Idaho in 2003. So I don't know, that many years.
Yeah. Shoot. Well, it's been fun to watch you. I'm telling you, I've been a big fan of your show, your channel in general. So ever since I got into metal tech, it hasn't been that long. It's only been a few years. But yeah, I'm a big fan of great videography, great editing, great use of B-roll and music and all that stuff. And you seem to really do a great job with that. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
I'm always trying to emulate you, and it's very difficult to do.
I emulate other people that I watch on YouTube too. So it's I don't know. Let's all get together and rip each other off, and
There
then
you go. Yeah, what's the video I watched today? The video I watched today said, and I forgot who did the original quote, but it said, "Amateurs borrow, professionals steal,"
Yeah, and the poor create.
and the poor create. Awesome. Well, hey, All Metal Mike had a question. He's the one jumped out. So come on, you guys think of your questions out there. I haven't seen too many come up. Type that Adventures in Dirt first. All Metal Mike said, how long was your recent? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to All Metal Mike's first question. How many relic rooms do you have? Do you have like 100?
Just the one, honestly. Like,
Oh,
I kind of file things away. I have little boxes that are like here's my wheat pennies, and they're all like divided into littler boxes by date,
Yeah.
Here's my Indians, and then like shove them in there because most of them are not worthy of displaying. I wouldn't say they're very corroded and crusty. They look like duck coins, but
Yeah.
for some reason I feel like I need to hang on to them, so I shuffle them away in a corner over here. But the cool stuff I try and display like in these little things, and I don't know. I think it's fun. I try not to get too carried away with it though, just because I don't have very many cool things. There are a handful of really really awesome stuff, things that I find, but out west, as far as coins and relics, man, it's tough. We're lucky if we hit an Indian head. We're lucky if we hit a Merc. We're lucky, you got to really, really, really get on some old spots and do a lot of research out here. And even for the older sites, like if we want to hit 1800s out here, usually at least a 2-hour drive. And that's the closest stuff. It's funny because we actually have to go further west to get older, because people like kind of skipped over everything in the middle and went straight for California
Right.
and Oregon, and so like the older stuff is a little bit, the closer older stuff is a little bit west. So,
I mean, same situation here in Colorado, where I'm like, yeah. You can find it. It's just, it's really hard to find it. You gotta work, which is fun too, So, how long have you been on YouTube, Brandon? How long have you actually had your YouTube channel up and running, or how long you've been doing stuff on YouTube?
The wife and I were just actually talking about that today. It was February 2012 or 13. I forget. It was one of those. I think it was 2013.
So happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right around this time, like towards the end of February, I posted my first metal detecting YouTube video.
And why? Why would you want to get into this crazy world of YouTube?
Honestly, I asked myself that question quite a bit. I don't know why. What compelled me to think that I should make a metal detecting video? I had never ever watched one up until that point. And to be fair, back in 2013, 2012, there weren't very many people putting metal detecting videos on YouTube. So I attribute a lot of my success to being one of the only ones because they didn't have much of a choice. So yeah, I got a GoPro for Christmas. My mom bought me a GoPro for Christmas, and I just started wanting to use it. And I thought, oh, this might be a fun opportunity to use my new Christmas present. The snow had just started thawing, and I got out and stuck a GoPro camera on my head and went for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just kind of like, so were you like in those days just doing a video a week, or how'd you start off? Were you did you hit it hard right away?
I think I remember doing about a video a week or a video every other week. And then once I saw that people were actually watching them, I started doing a video a week, and pretty consistently, as consistently as I could find locations. People ask me all the time, why don't I upload more frequently? And the honest, brutal truth is because I can't find enough good places to go that frequently. And also, job, husband, father, that all gets kind of in the way sometimes too. I don't want to say in the way, that sounds mean. I love them. I love them to death, but stop holding me back.
Good answer.
I would love to do something like the Hoover Boys do, like a video a week. I would absolutely love to. And I know those guys work extremely hard to make that happen. Unfortunately, I just haven't been able to do that. And then because some of my finds comparatively, like to the guys on the East Coast, are pulling large cents and Spanish silver and like all these great coins, and I'm over here pulling Wheaties and Mercs all day. The reason why my production value is high is because it has to be. If I want to retain a viewer, it's not going to be because of what I'm finding typically. So how do I negate that is by making the best video that I can possibly make, or traveling to some unique areas and actually making some good finds. That helps too.
Do you have any background in audio visual?
Audio mostly. The tables are kind of turning. I feel like I have more of a background in visual now but I started off in music. I play guitar. stuff like that. Let's play a song. There you go.
Here we go.
Now, it started off with music and recording music, and the software used to record music is almost identical to video, and so I was easily able to bridge over into the video stuff.
Using Adobe?
I did, yeah. Adobe, and then like the Photoshop and stuff like that. I was familiar with that, and Illustrator too. So the Adobe products kind of helped bridge too. But then I found Final Cut, and I loved Final Cut more than Adobe, just because of the workflow. For me, it was a better program, and especially after Final Cut finally in the recent year or two that it's been out, they did an update so you can color grade. You can actually play with colors a lot better. Adobe before, if you wanted better colors, you went for Adobe.
Right.
Adobe's workflow and me just didn't get along.
No. I like that synergy between all the different products they have. Hey, real quick, let's take a peek at the chat room. Some more people snuck in on us here. And if you're just joining us, I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. We're live tonight with Brandon Ray Neice, otherwise known as Dr.Tones on YouTube. That's right. He's been gracious enough to join us tonight. And I just want to say hello to some people here.
Quarter Hoarder's here.
Quarter Hoarder? Hey, what's up, Jason?
Gone digging.
Yep, gone digging. Just dirt fishing.
Mark Cuss.
All right. Who else I saw come in?
Mark, what's going on? Sorry, I hope you don't mind. I'm drinking my soda.
Go for it. Mark the Berg Hunter. Missouri Mike's in the house. All right. Bobby Buttons. Bobby Buttons in the house. Excellent. Hey, guys, thanks for showing up. Thanks for joining me tonight. Again, if you got questions, go ahead and type them in. If you start with the word Adventures in Dirt, on my side, I know you won't see it, but on my side, it really highlights it for me, and it basically says, hey, DK, check it out. This guy's got a question, and that way I can tune right into it. It helps me out, so please do. But let's start with one of your earlier finds. Let's say, a lot of us have that moment. My second find of all time. First find was a Canadian penny. Second find was a 925 ring in my backyard, trying out my machine for the first time. Right? So what did you have one of those? Oh yeah, this is my hobby now. I'm hooked.
Yeah. Actually, I remember specifically really, really trying to hit the 1800s here in my local area, and I got permission on this house that they were about to demo, and I got on there and I hunted for about 3 days, actually, not straight, of course, but I would have if they would have let me. I came back a total of 3 times, and finally on the third day, the very last target, it was July too. It was like 105 degrees out, and I'm sweating, and I get this surface signal in the driveway, which is covered in gravel rock. I'm like, oh, well, let's just get this pull tab out of the way. And I kind of scuffed the rocks with my foot and reached down and I grabbed a V-nickel in $18.99. I was like, we made it. I need more. Yeah. So ever since that, I was like, okay, it's possible these things do happen. You can actually find cool things with a metal detector if you do diligence, research and put in the ground time, pound some ground. And that's how finds are made.
Yeah. How'd you come up with some of your digging partners? How'd you kind of meet some of them?
Honestly, because Eric was into gold hunting, and he has done a lot of relic hunting prior to when we met. He knew more about it than I ever would. He helped kind of bring me up in the hobby and kind of show me the ropes beginning and stuff like that. We just kind of clicked at the fire station. We'd talk about it like, hey, we should go out this weekend. And then my captain, TJ, who you might know from the videos as Pickhead, he was like, I want to go. What's a metal detector? What kind do I need? And he's like, don't waste my time. I don't want like a cheap one. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. And it's like, okay, well then you want a CTX like us. That's what we're using. That's what we've been successful with so far. And that's kind of the greatest thing too. Like, I think people have a certain gravitational pull to the first brand product that they've started with. And for me, it was Minelab. It was a gold detector, and I kind of spilled into the coins and relics. But he just went straight for the CTX, and he learned the Minelab thing just like I did. And he started off, and he immediately he found silver out his first trip, and then he went to England like a month later without us. And he came back with a bunch of hammered coins. And we're like, yep, we're going to England next year. We're all going. And and that was kind of how TJ and Eric and I kind of met all through the fire station. Johnny Utah and I kind of go back before the metal detecting thing. He's a volunteer fireman the next county over, and we have a mutual friend, and we just kind of hit it off one day. We were at a party for my buddy Ty, Spanish Ty, and he's like, I want to go detecting. Let's go detecting. So we let him borrow a machine, and everyone that I hang out with generally is super outdoorsy. I mean, we live in Idaho. The wilderness is our backyard, and these guys love going fishing and hunting all the time. And I find the similarity to metal detecting so similar, yes, to fishing and hunting, that the people that typically do that are so eager to find or hunt or do something outside that in the off season they like to metal detect because it fills that void for them.
Right. That's awesome. Well, I'm telling you, so far in the chat, Bobby from the Hoover Boys is winning the question contest we've got going on.
Thanks, Bobby.
He wants to know what kind of product you use in your hair. And then he also wants to know if boxers or briefs. That's what he wants to know.
Boxer briefs. I kind of look like a troll if I do that.
Great question,
boxer briefs.
Yeah.
And I use it's a clay-based pomade. My wife gets it for me. Awesome. But it's not keeping my hair. It keeps my hair in place. It does not keep it attached to my head, unfortunately.
Why are you asking that question, Bob? Hey, Finders Keepers, good to see you. Digologists, great to see you. 52 Adventures, thanks for showing up. That's Tony. Good to see you, buddy. A few other people slipped in on us here. All right, good to see you. Youper Digger, good to see you, buddy.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, I've gotten to know a lot of these people. They come along, they leave a lot of comments, and you got to kind of get to know them by their screen name all the time.
Yeah. And 5280 Adventures. Okay, he's asking, have I ever used anything other than MindLab? And the answer is absolutely yes, I have. For a long time there, not a long time, for a couple of years or so, 2 or 3 years maybe. I was sponsored by MindLab, and they get a little bit sensitive if you start using other people's products on screen, so that's a big no-no. Prior to that and after the sponsorship, I did and have maintained, a Deus, had a White's V3i for a while, a White's Goldmaster, and I've had Fisher Goldbug 2, love the Fisher Goldbug 2. I've had a Garrett Scorpion Gold Stinger. I've had a Garrett AT Pro and a Garrett Ace 250. All great machines, all really, really great machines. What it came down to for me was I just kind of identified with the CTX first and foremost, and it was the one that was consistently helping me with finds. And that's not to say that I wasn't just swinging over it, with the other ones. And people always ask me, what's the best machine? The best machine, in my opinion, is the best machine for you. What works for me might not work for you. I don't know what you're wanting to find. I don't know what your environment's like. But aside from that, getting to know whatever you have, like if you have an Ace 250 and that's your go-to machine, you're going to want to know exactly all of its functions, all of its little innuendo, or you know what I'm talking about. Like you want to know that machine intimately.
Yeah. I once heard that the best machine is the one you learn to master.
That's
so
right.
Basically, you got to learn all the noises before and after the beep and all that stuff. So,
and typically that's the one that you use the most, because when I get a new machine, I always tell myself, okay, I'm not going to use my CTX, I'm not going to use my Equinox, I'm not going to use anything that I'm already really familiar with until I learn this machine, until I feel very comfortable on it. Because what happens is you start to gravitate back to the machines that you're accustomed to because you're afraid you're missing things. You're not giving the new machine a chance to perform. You're not giving it due diligence.
I hate that feeling. Sure. I know I'm missing something.
Yeah.
William Birch was asking about how you were you able to preview the Equinox and how did all that come about?
Yeah. So initially, when MindLab approached me about the new detector that they were developing, the name wasn't even established yet. It was more than an idea because the engineers had had completed 90% of the functionality, and the form and function of it was already more or less complete. And they came to me and they said, we're looking for your input along with some others that we've reached out to. We really feel like you would be the face of this product. And we kind of just went from there. And when you beta test a product, basically the engineers will send you different versions of software throughout the development. Like, try this one. And it's not just to me, it's to like a team of beta testers, and then reply back with your likes, dislikes, subtle nuances that you've observed, and just try and paint them a picture of how it's actually performing in the field. And obviously they don't want just one guy in the West. They want a couple guys that are after gold, coins, relics, guys back East, people overseas. They want a good average, so that way they can see where the detector really shines and where they need to polish it a little bit more.
Yeah,
so
when
yeah.
I was gold prospecting when I first wanted my first. I was going after my first metal detector, and I was looking for a gold bug too, like crazy. I was trying to find one on Craigslist or maybe a used one somewhere. And
commodity.
yeah, right. And shoot, it was just too expensive, the ones that I could find, and yeah, ended up going a different direction. But yeah, I would love to still probably pick one of those up. So you start metal detecting, you start finding things, and you start traveling to go find places. Bob Dip wanted to know, what was the scariest outing you ever had? You have any that come to mind?
Yeah, I think the scariest outing that I ever had was Eric and I. We were in Nevada, and we had done kind of like a dual gold detecting and ghost town detecting over the course of a weekend. And it was like June or July. It might have been August. It's in the middle of summer. It's hot. And we're on our way home. I've got shift the next morning, and we're leaving Nevada about 3 in the afternoon, so we can get home by about 7 at night, 8 at night. We just get off of the desert roads and back onto the highway, and all of a sudden the wind picks up and it's howling. And we were in my Jeep at the time, which I had the top off of and the doors off of, because why not? It's way more fun that way. And this massive thunderstorm rolled in over the top of us. And it was, the area is kind of by Winnemucca, Nevada. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of by where they have Burning Man.
Yeah. Nowhere.
Really prone to flash flooding. And all of a sudden it starts raining and hailing extremely hard. So hard, in fact, that I-80 was at a shutdown. Hi, bud. I'm just telling stories. Want to join us? Come on over. This is Ace.
Ace, what's up, Ace?
Ace.
That was Ace.
That was Ace. There you go.
Flash. Awesome.
You want to shut the door for me? Okay, thanks, bud. He's not a people person.
So flash flood and...
Yeah, flash flood. Anyway, we ended up, the whole freeway was up on a shutdown, and you couldn't drive because you couldn't see. It was just like driving under a waterfall. Wow. And all of a sudden, the canals on the sides of the freeway and the sides of the mountains on the freeway just start to flood with water, and it rushes down to the freeway. And there's this car in front of a semi up in front of us that just starts floating away, and it gets into the median, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is washing cars off of the road. And then chunks of the freeway start floating by us. I'm like, Eric, dude, we're in a bad spot, man. We need to get high ground now. So actually what I didn't show on the video was, like, we actually boogied in the shoulder around people that were parked, because I just kicked it in 4 low, and we went through it, through water, through mud, through hell and high water to get out to high ground. And yeah, it was like a storm that happens in that area about once a decade. But I feared for my life a little bit, and I'm sure that the guy that floated by in the car felt it a little bit more.
Right. He's looking at you, you're looking at him like, whoa.
Yeah.
Just Dirt Fishing wants to know, what's the favorite place you've ever hunted?
Favorite place.
Favorite.
Man, I don't know. That is a tough one. I would say my favorite place has to be anywhere England. Not to say I don't love where I hunt here locally. Like, I got a couple hot spots that we, like the Field of Dreams where I pulled the gold coin out of. That's an awesome favorite. I love that spot mostly because it's so close that I can just call up my buddies and be like, "Hey, yo, Johnny Utah, what are you doing? Eric, TJ, get over here. Ty, everyone is so close to it, and I really enjoy hunting with my friends. I'm not like a lone wolf typically.
Right.
Not to say I'm not opposed to it, but given given the circumstances, I'd rather hunt with my best friends than no friends. So I love the local spots, but really England, just because you don't know what's under your coil. The possibilities are endless. That ground has been fought over and walked across for eons.
The history, just
That
amazing.
intrigues me. Yeah.
How long have you been going to England?
My first trip was 2015, and I've been every year since.
Every year. Awesome.
One year twice. Just
No
for
kidding.
the Oxford leagues. Yeah, I was lucky enough. Mine Lab actually took me to unveil the product at Detectable, and then a few months later, I went with Metal Detecting Holidays and did a tour over there with them. And so yeah, I've been lucky enough. I think when I go back, this will be number 5.
It's amazing. Definitely need to go. I've got a lot of friends there, and I just haven't been over yet. And it's on my things to do. You know what I mean? My things to do list.
I'm excited this year.
What's going on?
I think the Hoover Boys already told you. Am I safe here? Hoover Boys, chat it up. Let me know. Am I safe? We're safe, right? Anyway, Brad and Kurt from the Hoover Boys are coming with me. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And Johnny Utah and TJ are going to be there as well.
What a trip that's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be one for the books. I have a feeling, I have a suspicion this is probably going to be the best trip. Definitely the best company.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. You guys going over for Detectable during that time, and you going through Metal Detecting Vacations, or just a Metal Detecting Vacations trip?
Yeah, just the Metal Detecting Holidays. I love Detectable, but there's so many people. It's a lot of fun. It's a riot, honestly, but it's all out war. It's detecting wars. It's like trying to figure out where the hot spots are on the permissions that you have, and 500 other people are trying to do the exact same thing.
Right. I've got a little clip video playing of one of your hunts where you went to England and you were able to find that Norman brooch.
Yeah.
Very ornate a Norman brooch. Can you tell us anything more about that brooch? What have you found out since then?
So let me grab
it. About 3 years ago, yeah?
Yeah. So this thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's probably what you're referring to.
That's it.
So what I have learned is that the experts no longer think it's a brooch. There's a couple things that they're leaning towards. One is possibly it would have been mounted on the front of a shield and carried by someone that didn't actually fight, but maybe sat on the horse and watched the armies fight and was important. And the reason why they don't think it's a brooch is because if you look on the back, there's actually no mounting holes. There's nothing. It would have been inlaid into something. Another professor said that it could be a casket decoration. The most recent theory is that it could have been off of a Saxon hanging bowl, which was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, but it's a thing. And there are these kind of ornate bowls, and on the bottom of the bowl they have this, and on the inside of the bottom of the bowl they have another, and then they maybe have a couple that are around the sides that are inlaid into like a clay pot type thing. And there's a lot of discussion over what that bowl would have been used for. Some people think that it was for rinsing your hands before you eat. Some think that it was for mixing wine with water to make bad water drinkable. And others think that it was to mimic the Last Supper, because the Saxons were very religious, and they were trying to mimic what they saw in the Bible as much as they could. So that's the latest theory, Saxon hanging bowl. And from what I've seen, the examples, it most relates to possibly a Saxon hanging bowl.
Wow. I mean, how long did it take you to get that back? Did they hang on that for quite a while?
This one took a year, a little over a year to get back.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that this would not come back, just because of you know, it looks like treasure.
Sure does. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks very interesting. Very
They're like,
interesting.
yeah, Saxon hanging bowl thing. We don't need that. Whatever.
Yeah. To you're like, no, yeah, give it to me.
I will take it.
That's right. We will take it. Hey, the Hoover boys. Kirk wants to know what's the number one item on your bucket list currently?
Ooh, man, number one item. It's a tie. It's a toss-up. I really, really, really want a Bronze Age axe head. If you go check out one of my latest videos, you'll see Chris from Metal Detecting Holidays. He pulled one, and I swear I walked within 5 feet of this area that he hunted, and it drove me nuts. But it was beautiful, and I've seen 3 others found on different trips, and I haven't been lucky enough to get one yet. I'm kind of intrigued by them just by how old they are. I think it's pretty amazing. You know, you're talking thousands of years before Christ. That's pretty amazing to me. And then I would say that would be tied with a hammered gold coin of the medieval period or Roman. I would take a Roman, but something
like a little stater or something like that.
No, a little bit later. Here, let me show you. Something like one of those.
Okay, all right.
Now this would have been like early medieval period. Actually, excuse me, late medieval period. Probably right around 1300s or so, if I remember right. It was when England thought that they needed bigger denominations because they were trading more frequently and in larger quantities. And they made these beautiful, beautiful gold hammered coins, and they're very rare. I will probably never find one, but I can dream.
Good, great bucket list item. This is your year.
This is it. I feel it in my bones.
Chris is going to put you guys
Brad
on.
Brad is going to get it first. Brad's going to get it. I'm going to go, good job, Brad. You're the man.
Absolutely. You know he will.
Yeah.
Within the first 15 minutes, probably.
Probably.
He'll tag it.
Probably.
Awesome. So would you consider, you don't consider yourself either a coin hunter or a relic hunter? Like, do you have a preference, or you take whatever you can get, but relics are more interesting to you? Or
honestly, I learn more from relics. I think they're more interesting, but I like the fact that 99.9% of coins have a date on them. And that's kind of fun too, because you know for sure like where it came from, and there's a lot more information that you can gain from a coin as opposed to hypothesizing what an Anglo-Saxon hanging bowl ornament was or whatever. You know, like we have an approximation of when those things were done and why kind of it might have been here, but when you find money, you know that a transaction was taking place. You know where that money came from and about how long it was circulated, because usually when you find one coin, you find others. And now you've got a window of, okay, this place was here to here. All these pieces start to fit, and this money came from there because now we know the Romans were here or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I think you can learn more from money, and I think that is very interesting to me. And I'm genuinely curious when something was made. It drives me kind of a little bit insane to have a window of when things were made and not an actual hard number.
So you talked to us about your bucket lister. You talked to us about that great hammered gold coin. Bobby wants to know what's your American bucket lister item that you think you can find here in the States.
Probably a cob, a Spanish cob is definitely on the list. Now I got to find them out here. Gonna have to go back east for that. Yeah, probably a cob. Anything gold. I always like anything gold.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, Spanish cob, top of the list right now.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Do you have any metal detecting machines that you regret you don't have anymore? Like from your past? And you're like, oh, I wish I really kind of had that one back. That would kind of be a good one to play.
Yes, I do. Makes me sad to talk about it, though.
Oh, does it? Oh, we don't have
kidding. To. I had the MindLab GPZ 7000. MindLab was developing that product, and right when it came out. They were wanting to do promotions with it and stuff, and I was lucky enough to have been given one.
Hmm.
And if you didn't know, the price of a GPZ 7000 when it first came out was $11,000.
My gosh.
Right. I didn't. My Jeep that I was driving at the time wasn't $11,000. And so that being said, I knew that it was a ridiculous machine that I would never have owned otherwise, had it not been given to me in trade for video advertising and things like that. So
Yeah.
I used it for 3 seasons, and I found quite a bit of gold with it. That being said, it's so seasonal when I can hunt for gold in Nevada that the weather conditions, like I said before, they have to be just right. And it's either too hot or it's too wet. The cold doesn't really bother me, but when the ground is wet out there, it's very alkali, and your PI machines and your other gold hunting machines really, they drive you nuts with the noise, the moaning and groaning. You can't hear gold through it half the time. So you have to wait till the ground is bone dry, but there's that time there where it's bone dry and it's not too hot. And then it's just bone dry and really hot. So there's two times a year when that happens. And that wasn't enough to me to justify hanging on to what became a $7,000 machine. So right. In order to, pay off a couple credit cards, maybe fund a trip to England, pay down the vehicle, being a responsible adult, I hawked it on eBay.
Did you?
And I will mention that Mind Lab found out and they weren't happy. Yeah.
Well, we won't tell anybody.
Sorry about that. I know it's not a good move.
Wow.
Dr.Tones. I pulled a quick one.
Pull a quick one. That's awesome. What are you using to shoot your videos these days? Are you still using a GoPro, or have you jumped to something else?
I do use a GoPro still. My GoPro I usually mount to. Well, here I'll show you.
Yeah, somebody Dell Robson wanted to know how you mount it to your detector, if you do.
This little guy.
Yeah.
It's like a little twisty, vicey, clampy thing that your GoPro attaches, and I usually just put that on the shaft of the detector, and then I bend it around so that way, like, it's looking at my screen. So part of it's looking at my screen, part of it you can see the coil, so that way you can see some numbers, you can hear some sounds, but you can also see when my coil passes over it.
Yeah.
I like that setup. That is the main one. And then like when I dig a signal, I'll set my machine down and I'll just angle it like at the hole, and I'll dig, and then I'll kind of crouch by it and show you what I found and move on.
I like that.
Really good. I'll go like this.
Yeah, that's really heavy. I like that heavy duty ratchet neck to that thing, because most of the time you get those things, they're too lightweight and they bounce all over the place.
Yeah, you don't want to put your finger in that, or I actually have a condition called trigger finger.
Okay.
Coolest disease name you could have, but the ligaments in my hands are not happy a lot, and my fingers don't operate properly. Yeah. And this is so stiff that I have to do like the 2 hands type to open it, and it's kind of a pain, but it stays once it's on, so that's good.
Gotcha. Were you considering trigger finger before you considered Dr.Tones?
I should have. If I was more into like competitive shooting.
Yeah, right. Here he comes, trigger finger.
The trigger. This right now is my main shooter. I'm trying to find my other camera. It's around somewhere.
That's a nice camera.
So this is the Sony A7R III, and the lens that's on it right now is the 16 to 35 f2.8 for you camera geeks out there. Mm-hmm. It's a mirrorless system, which means it's a lot lighter. Until you put this thing on it.
Right.
And this is actually one of my favorite little mics to use. I've tested several mounted mics on here, and the Rode Video Micro, not Micro from Dirty Jobs, the Video Micro is my favorite mic. And it also comes with the dead cat. So as you know, like wherever we go, it's always windy, and it drives me insane when I get back home and my footage just is like, you can't hear anything. So that really helps with that. When I find something nice, I'll set this up on a Gorilla Pod, which is like kind of a bendy little tripod that you can wrap around a fence post or whatever. You can hang it from a tree.
Right.
find something nice, I'll fire this bad boy up, get some B-roll of it, get some B-roll of the landscape, talk to it a little bit, and then try to move on as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your use of B-roll is really impressive.
Thank you.
I like the
Thank you.
techniques you use for that. It's pretty cool.
It adds a lot of flavor to the videos that I think kind of helps immerse the viewer a little bit more into the environment that you're in. Gives them a little bit better feel of where you're at.
Right. Jumping around a little bit, but J3B had a pretty good question. Jeremiah wanted to know, Dr. Tones, have you ever had any finds that have made it into a museum?
Currently, actually, yes. Finally, I don't know how long they'll hold on to it, if they'll want to keep it forever, but currently have the coins that I found from the last trip in England were part of what they're calling the Shropshire Short Cross Hoard. They're in the British Museum currently, and I'm not sure when we'll get those back, because the site is actually still producing some more of the hoard. So I don't know if they have to wait until they say, okay, the site's done, there's no more that we can find, and then we'll catalog and give them all back, or if it's just going to be like an ongoing case that they hang on to. So
Yeah,
I would love to get them back, but I also would love to have something I found in a museum. One of my favorite finds actually is currently in their possession, and it's a short cross hammered silver coin from right around 1190. And it has my son's name. It says Abel on it. And if you look at the discovering a metal detecting hoard, or I forget what I named the video. Anyway, go to my channel, find the video. It's like got some fire and some coins and a king and stuff. Click on that one and you'll see why it's named Abel. And it's really cool. I want that one back. I don't look good in a coin necklace or with a coin ring or something, but I think that would be an exception. I would wear something.
That sounds really cool. How did you hook up with? I really enjoyed your videos that you put together when you were over there doing some mudlarking with Nicola and Chill Bill.
Chill Bill?
Yeah, Chill Bill and Nicola and them. Those are some great videos. I really enjoyed them. How'd you hook up with those two?
So Bill had contacted me prior to Detectable, and he was wanting to do a collaboration. And what a lot of people don't know about Bill is he is super, super nice guy, definitely Chill Bill. He's also kind of an elite guy as far as it goes over in Britain. He is he's a CEO of one of Britain's most successful stock investment companies.
Oh, really?
So he offered actually to bring me out there. I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. I'll actually be there for Detectable in between here and here. And he's like, cool, when you're done, why don't you hook up with me and I'll put you up, place to stay in the city, and we'll do some mudlarking, and I'll bring my friend Nicola. And it's like, yeah, that's awesome. I love both of your channels. I would love to do that. And I would love to look around London, because I had been to England up to that point 3 times, and never have I seen London outside of landing there when I got there. And then, because usually like the places that we go metal detecting, you hop on a train or in a car and you just straight to the fields, and then you metal detect the whole 12 days and then go straight back to the airport, and there's no time for anything else because I can't take months of time off from work. So as much as I would like to, so that gave me an opportunity to explore London and walk around for a couple days and like see Tower Bridge and Big Ben and all the stuff that you want to see when you go places.
Right. You've been to some cool places though. Some of that country lanes, some of those country areas that Chris takes you to are some pretty breathtaking as far as the visuals go. I mean,
it's hard to beat.
It's pretty amazing. So, do you prefer England or Wales, or do you have a preference there?
I don't know enough of either of them to have a preference, really. I will say that, in my opinion, there is more opportunity and more things to be found towards Wales, towards the west, because it's less populated and there are less people metal detecting in those areas. I think that, when the Danes came down, everything seems to be on that east side, London to the south, and the Saxons were very prevalent through, like Yorkshire and everything up to the north. the West kind of got forgot about. It still got fought about, and the Romans still loved it over there too. And eventually the Saxons and the Danes and the Celts, everyone ended up all over that island. So there's just as much stuff on the West as there is on the East. I think that you see more of it being found on the East because there's a lot more people there. So potential wise, I think towards Wales, definitely I would take an opportunity that side versus the other any day.
Yeah. 5280 Adventures asked this question earlier, and it's funny. I was just watching this video earlier to kind of get prepared for our show tonight. You had a pretty incredible find that ended up at auction. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. Totally. One of my other best finds.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to find in the most desolate of places a 1901-esque Barber quarter, which, if you're not familiar with that particular quarter, it was one of the rarest ever minted. And what it was doing out there, I have a pretty good idea why and how it got there. It was a stage line, and the person was providing animals and water and resting to stagecoaches that were coming through from San Francisco, which is where the coin was minted. So I think that he was paid with that coin and ended up losing it somehow. So yeah, it was a great find. It was an amazing find. I thought never in a million years would I ever find something that valuable. And a lot of people like to give me hell for selling it. That's okay. I give myself help sometimes for selling it too. But again, it's it's yours now. You can do whatever you want with it. If you want to sell it, sell it. For me, it was another thing like, yeah, okay, we'll pay the Jeep off and we'll go back to England again.
Yeah.
Sometimes it pay, you gotta pay to play. And that's a lot of the times how I do it. If I find, like a 1914 D penny or whatever, a couple $100 is a couple $100 to me. Aside from what people might think, they see me traveling a lot and using cool gear and things like that. But the reality of it is I work really hard for it, and I sell some of my things to afford those things.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. There are some things that I hold near and dear, and they're on these shelves and stuff like that. The rest is I can't take them with me, so might as well have fun with it while I'm here.
Yeah,
I like the experience more than the thing.
Yeah, I know. We've all benefited from it as well. It's not just a thing that helps you out, but as a viewer, as a fan, somebody that watches your videos all the time and gets a lot of inspiration and motivation by them. You get to see you go to England and find some incredible stuff, and then we sit here in Colorado and go, "Oh, I need to get to England."
Yeah, I know 100 people that complain about not being able to go to England that have $50,000 sitting on the shelf that they refuse to sell. Just pick your least favorite ones and buy a plane ticket.
Right. Crazy. I'm scrolling back here trying to look through some questions maybe I missed. Give me just a second. If you see anybody else here in chat, you say hello to them there. If anybody slipped in on you that you didn't see. Name, bam. Look like we got.
Going back to the camera thing real quick. Someone just mentioned an iPhone. I don't know what it was in reference to, but I'm assuming it was to cameras. Yes, totally. iPhone. I use this thing a lot. Especially great for close-ups of coins. Like if I don't feel like putting a different lens on a nice camera to get a better close-up shot, the cameras on your cell phones up close give you amazing shots. And they have built in the little lens up here now. They have built in, it's a floating lens. It's like in some liquid that it's sustained in. So you have stabilization there, and you have digital stabilization too. So the video coming out of these is a lot smoother than it has been in the past. There's multiple mics on here now, forward and backward facing. So whatever wind direction is coming from, you will pick up less of that. These are extremely, extremely handy. Only thing I don't like about it is when I'm digging, I have to reach in my pocket, take off my gloves, and then fiddle with stuff. It's the glove thing that I don't like. So a lot of the times, if you've ever detected with me, you'll see me I'll reach out and I'll start nosing it, with my nose, my
I was just
giant
gonna ask
Neice
you.
nose. I'll scroll and I'll click and I'll pack. Yeah, it's
I was,
awesome.
I was just gonna ask you if you've used your nose on it.
Yep, totally. Been there, done that.
Hey, just
I
dirt
will,
fit. Go
I
ahead.
will say, check these out though. I
What's
got
that?
these special for the trip. Okay, these are fishing gloves. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. I used to be an avid fly fisherman. I don't have time so much to do it anymore. But these are actually fishing gloves. And
Oh
check
yeah,
that.
cool. Look at
You
that.
hold the thumbs back, and there's like little Velcro, and it holds them in place so you can fiddle with things.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Don't take gloves off anymore. So hallelujah. Hope they work out great.
Technology. Yeah. Just Dirt Fishing wants to know: do you ever go door knocking? Have you ever gotten into door knocking for permission
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cold knocking is what Eric and I call it.
Yeah.
Want to go cold knock? No, I never want to cold knock. Is it successful? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's some of the best things that I've found with consistency have been from people's houses, because you can look at a house and be like, hey, that's an old house, but there's some stuff in there. This takes the guesswork out of it. All you have to do is talk to strangers and convince them that it's an okay idea to let you look for treasure in their phone,
Right.
which can be difficult. I do have some techniques that we use, and they have worked out pretty well. We have a pretty good track record with getting permission, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I hate it. Oh, it makes me so nervous, sick and nervous. Um, I often get a hard time because I'm usually the one that doesn't want to do it, and everyone else is like, yeah, let's just go knock it. But I typically like to go off the grid out into the middle of nowhere, somewhere where I put a lot of research in, and then did map overlays and GPSed it, and then drove out in the middle of nowhere. It took a day and a half to get there, and then you get on it and it's there, and it's the same way it was 100 years ago, but no one's in it anymore. Those are the places I really, really love. I think the adventure, just being outside, being out in the wild, and then the research coming to a T and finding something like that. That in itself to me is the find, and then the coins are extra if you find more of the relics. But the thing is with the people that lived way off the grid like that back in the days, they didn't have any money. So about one coin will come out of the ground for every 10 of those locations that we visit, and they are few and far. And so, one might be 100 miles away from the next. So
Yeah.
it costs a lot of money, gas money, to go around and find maybe a coin.
Man, I know. Yeah, some of your drone work's been really impressive. I know that Brian Oakes was just talking about what kind of drone are you using now. He really loves your drone work as well.
Cool. It's in my backpack. I won't get it out. I'm using the DJI Mavic Pro 2.
Okay.
And that is the one with the Hasselblad 1-inch sensor. It's the square camera. The round one that has the zoom function on it, I find intriguing as well. But if you're ever into cameras and stuff like that and filming, you know that the bigger the sensor, the better, because it captures more light and more dynamic range and sharper images.
Right.
So when you go from something the size of a cell phone sensor in a drone to a 1-inch sensor, the low light capabilities are much better. Everything just is much better. So I would take a bigger sensor over zooming capabilities any day.
Right.
With 4K now too, you can crop in, and there's hardly any loss of resolution usually.
Yeah.
So.
It's pretty amazing, that technology, I'll tell you. Hey everyone, just say if you're just joining me, I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. You're watching Digger Spotlight, and our guest tonight is Dr.Tones, Brandon Ray Neice. And I just want to remind you guys, selfless plug here. If you like this show, if you like these interview shows that I put together, these Digger Spotlights, hit that subscribe button down below. Become a subscriber. We'd love to have you. And give us a big thumbs up. Let us know what kind of guest you'd like to see here on Digger Spotlight. We just leave those in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. See what your thoughts are on that. Hey, Brandon, I wanted to ask you about metal detecting holidays. I want to ask you about how you got involved with metal detecting holidays. I'm going to put a graphic up here. It's going to kind of cover our faces here for a second. But yeah. Metal detecting holidays. How'd you get involved with them?
Basically, when I went to Detectable, there was a group of friends that went over there. They had been in contact with Chris, and they met him at Detectable. Chris says, "Hey, me and my partner John starting this thing. It's over on the border of England and Wales. It's going to be called Metal Detecting Holidays. Essentially, what it is it's an Airbnb plus." I have permission on over 3,000 acres of land, or what? It's something ungodly. It's like 3 to 5,000 acres, and he invites them over, and I was also invited. Unfortunately, I had prior engagements. I went with Chill Bill, and so that's how that happened. The first time I missed out completely, and I got a hold of Chris, and I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I would really, really love to have been there." I think the first group that he had over there, it was Aqua Chigger, it was KG and Ringy, and Relic Recovers. There was Digger Dawn. There was a whole group of like really well-known, people and ambassadors of the hobby, I would call them. And I really wanted to hang out with them and go hunt, but prior engagements and hunting the River Thames, I'm like, I've been metal detecting here before. I've never been mudlarking. Let's take an opportunity to do that and see some things in London. Lucky enough for me, Chris said, "Hey, you know what? No worries. We'll set you up on your own tour. You can come back. We'll put you up, have a place to stay for you, and try and get this thing off the ground, basically."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. For those of you that are interested, there's a link right down below in the description for Metal Detecting Holidays. If you're interested, head on over there and check out the site and kind of see what they offer. It's a pretty cool little thing. I've thought about it seriously quite often. I just need to probably pull the trigger one of these times. It'd be great to get over there to.
Hard to beat, man. Like I said, all the permissions are there, and you're staying in a beautiful Airbnb that is managed. They do your laundry for you. 2 of your meals every day are provided, breakfast and lunch. Dinner, you're on your own for dinner, but out in the field, they bring you lunch and water and everything. All your transportation is taken care of. Only thing you got to get is your plane ticket and purchase their package. The rest is done. You're not in a cold barn somewhere.
Right, right. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and give away one of my T-shirts right now to some lucky viewer there in the chat room. My T-shirts look like this. It's called the Weekly Dirt. For those who aren't familiar, I run a show every Sunday called the Weekly Dirt that you can check out. It's kind of a weekly wrap-up of what's going on in our metal detecting world. I feature a bunch of channels. I've featured Dr.Tones quite a few times, and I'm really proud of the show, and I'm giving away one of these shirts tonight to somebody in the chat room. We are going to... Brandon, do you still have your Facebook Messenger up?
Maybe. Stand by.
Here, how's this? Did it pop up on you? No.
On my phone, yeah.
Okay, you can check that out. What I did, I just sent Brandon a number that I'm thinking of, and I've pre-selected it, and we're gonna do from 1 to 100, and you can start entering in as fast as you like. It'll probably time you out after about 5 tries, but 1 to 100, and whoever guesses the correct number first is going to win themselves a Weekly Dirt T-shirt. So it's going to get kind of crazy here as people start going. Go ahead and start. There they go.
Yeah.
And so I'll just look for that number. I've got Tony, my moderator, 528 Adventures. He also knows the number, and we're going to try to yell out stop as soon as we see it. Right now, I'm just kind of
They're going so fast.
They are. I got to scroll back up. If you scroll up,
that was close. Oh, that was close too. See either side of it.
It was that one number.
Man, type faster, guys.
Yeah, come on. What's up? I think it timed you out after like 5 tries because you're typing so fast. And then you're like, I got to get back in there. Just give it a couple seconds and try again. You'll be able to. And Tony, if you're watching, please type stop if you see it. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen the one next to it like 4 times now. So close. So close.
Usually this happens within a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
People guess it so much.
All right. So call me in the morning when you guys find out.
Yeah, we're just going to leave it streaming. We're going to go grab some dinner.
Yeah. We're having salmon tonight. What did you have for dinner?
I haven't had it yet. My wife and I have started this low carb eating lifestyle, and we haven't decided what we're going to do tonight. Probably some kind of leftover chicken. Probably turn it into some type of fettuccine, not a fettuccine, but like broccoli and Alfredo type stuff.
Does whole wheat pasta have a lot of carbs?
pasta does. I can't have pasta, but we just put veggies instead of pasta and lots of cheese. And
Have you ever had cauliflower mashed potatoes?
I have, and
What do you think
cauliflower
of those?
rice, and
Mm-hmm.
stop. At least I see one person that got it. Everyone can
Oh,
stop now.
yeah.
I'll have to scroll up and see if there's somebody
Oh,
before them.
yep,
Do you see it?
yep.
Uh, yeah, you know what? It's kind of like everything that you make with cauliflower kind of tastes like fried cabbage to me, and
Yeah,
I'm a fan of cabbage, so I don't mind it. It's not bad.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
My wife later doesn't like it because
yeah.
it's, cauliflower and cabbage. You know what that does too. So.
Sure. I bet. That's why you have your own relic room there, though, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just scrolling up to see if I can find. The number was 88. The number was 88, and I'm looking through, and I saw.
It started with an M, I thought.
I saw somebody else. So let's.
Quick, while he's looking,
Yeah,
give me a
David
question.
Godel I got a David Godel with 88. But I'm going to see if there's anybody else
Bob,
in
88.
there.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, Bob's on it now. What were you going to say? I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
I was going to say, first person to ask a question, I will answer 100% with honesty and go ask a question. First one I see. I like to do rapid fire. No, nobody's listening. They're just.
There's a delay. There's a delay too. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that helps.
Oh, you were right. Mountain Meddling
Yeah,
had 88.
that's what it was.
He was the first.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Mountain Meddling. Awesome. Hey, DK at adventuresindirt.com. You can find it down below in the description. You send me an email, tell me your shirt size, give me your address. I'll ship one right out to you. DK at adventuresindirt.com. Congratulations, Mountain Meddling. Do you see your question?
I do. Picker digger. What happened to RV life? This is a great question. Hey, buddy. We're actually just talking about this today too. RV life. Wow. A lot of fun, a lot of adventure, great country. When it comes to homeschooling, this little nugget, where'd you go? Get over here. This guy.
Where's he at?
He benefits from others teaching him better than mom and dad. So we anchored down, got him in school with all the other lucky public schoolers, and we just picked a place close to my work, so that way not having to drive back and forth, because I used to live like 45 minutes away from work. So this was nice. Do I miss it? Absolutely, I miss it. We still have the RV. It's parked in the backyard. However, we have recently been thinking about downsizing it because we're not having to live in it, and it's super large. It's 40 feet long, and it's got a lot more in there that we'll ever need any longer. So I'm thinking, and the 1-ton truck that I have to haul around as my daily driver is not the best in the deserts and the mountains. You got to load up like a side-by-side or something if you want to go on trails. So, hi, you want to pop up and say hi? Pop up with her. Come on. He's just going to wave with a glove down there. So yeah, we're looking at keeping an RV. We just don't know which one yet, and maybe getting rid of the truck possibly and going back to the Jeep or something similar that I can just hop in and cruise out to the deserts.
Yeah.
Something just that makes more sense for us, like I don't need that all the time now. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss it though. It's hard to go from like the top of the line one and then like start looking at smaller ones that you want to maybe trade into, and you're like, you can't start at the top and go backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way we were with the cruise. We took a cruise one time and we did like the biggest and baddest ship that was out there and did this great cruise. And then now we're like, oh, you go to a smaller cruise. You're like, I don't know. Hey, there's a correction I gotta make. I gotta make a correction. I'm sorry, everyone. Somebody corrected me that it was Marty. Marty, how do I pronounce your last name there? Verstals? Marty Verstals, Digging with Marty. You're actually the winner of the T-shirt, buddy. You had 88 first. I'm sorry. I had my moderator go back and check, and he was actually first. So I wanted to apologize I wanted to apologize to the other guy. Mountain meddling. I'm sorry, buddy. Make sure you join me on my next one and take another shot at it. But Marty, send me an email, dk@adventuresindirt.com. We'll get your shirt size and we'll get your shirt out to you. Sorry about that. That's the way this goes sometimes. It gets a little crazy, and I really need help people kind of going back up. So I appreciate you all that commented that Marty was first and helping pick him out. Hey, Brandon. Yeah, congratulations. How about tell me about this. It's going to pop up for you in a minute. Let's get rid of that shirt. Tell me about this metal detecting Bible book that you wrote.
Well, I know the author. He's a tool. Hate the guy. Hate his guts. The metal detecting Bible. If I had a choice, I would have named it something else. By the way, that was the publisher's move. It is. I agree with a lot of the comments on Amazon that it is not thick enough to have been a Bible. However, it is
is that the
what I
comments?
have managed to learn in a short amount of time and put onto paper. So, yeah, the opportunity came up. A publishing Ulysses Press contacted me through my YouTube channel and said, "Hey, we are a publishing company. We have a bunch of books on different subjects of all sorts. And we see a gap in this niche that needs filled," because what they were noticing is that the demand for the books was still the same, but the books were older. And so what they wanted to do was take all that demand that all the older books are scraping up and then make a new version of it and hopefully draw all of them to the new version. And so they found me and thought that I would be a good idea, a good person to write it. And
when did you write it?
What's that?
How long ago did you write it?
I wrote it in 2015, and it was published, I think, February 2016, if I remember correctly.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it took me a year to write. It was really an amazing experience. Writing a book, actually, believe it or not, has been on a bucket list of mine. Like, before I die, I'm going to write a book and get published. And that one just totally, I Kramered my way into it. It fell in my lap. I've got friends that have been trying to get published for years and they hate me. And it was just, they literally gave me homework assignments. They're like, "Okay, Dr. Tones, this week, I want you to tell me how a metal detector works. And I want you to tell me in no less than 5,000 words by next Wednesday. Can you do that?"
Yeah.
I think I could do that. Yeah. Let me clear my schedule.
How long did it take you to write it?
Took a year.
One year.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I learned more about spelling and grammar. You might not be able to notice it if you ever read the subtitles in my videos, but I learned more about spelling and grammar doing that than I did my whole education, college, everything. Like, more doing that, because these really, really smart people that it's their job to make sure everything looks good and is correct before it gets published. You send them a document on Word, and I didn't even know this was a possibility before you email it to them. And then they open it in Word and make all these corrections and send it back. And your old version is right next to their new version, and theirs has red all over it that you have to fix and reword and rearrange. So I started learning, like, oh, that's where commas go, or things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very educational, and the process was actually pretty streamlined. They made it easy on me.
Awesome. If you guys want to get a hold of that book, I got a link down below to an Amazon.com page that has that book available for you. You guys can go check it out. I think you could probably read the first couple of pages on there or something. It's a great book. You need to go check that one out. The Metal Detecting Bible. What did you want to call it?
Thank you. I honestly don't know. I didn't really have any names. They actually had the name developed before the book was even a thing. Like,
yeah.
There's still a picture, if you Google it, there's still one of the original pictures. They have a woman on the cover, like, metal detecting with a Radio Shack metal detector. The cord is dangling off of it, and she's like on rocks. She's on a pile of rocks.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
saw
this
that.
is not going to work, you guys, because I'm like, why don't I go out and take a picture for you? We can use it for the cover.
I saw that. I thought maybe it was your wife or something, and it was like an alternate book cover or something like that.
Right.
I didn't know.
Still left. Someone forgot to correct it somewhere along the way. And there's that cover floating around out there. I'm like, guys, we cannot have this cover. I refuse to do anything with this if that's going to be the cover. I said straight up, I don't even have to be on the cover. I think it would be beneficial, because if I'm pushing the book, people are going to want to see that I wrote the book. But yeah, I was like, this is just so much going on wrong with this. You're not going to convince people that actually metal detect to buy this book with this cover. And they listened.
Yeah.
Someone listened to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in chat that say they have it or have read it, and they really enjoy it and are
Well, I
appreciating it.
appreciate the support, you guys, and I hope that my goal with it, like I said, is just to like teach someone, even if you're a vet or if you're new to the hobby, whatever it is. If you can learn one thing out of that book, then I hope it was beneficial for you, and I hope it was worth the $7 or whatever.
Right. Right. Awesome. What about is it a recent recent development? Your affiliation with Treasure Mountain Metal Detectors, or
I've been working with Ed and Heath for, gosh, I'm bad with dates, and like I'm just kind of always by the seat of my pants kind of guy. I never know what date is. I want to say it's been like a couple of years now that I've been hooked up with them. And yeah, it was just kind of another affiliation through YouTube. They found me, and I had been a fan of their shop and Heath's show, and just general good vibes from their company throughout my relationship with them up to that point. And they said, hey, why don't you consider being a representative for us and consulting people, and we can set you up with a little account, and maybe you can make some commission on top of that too, which will help fund future endeavors and buy new cameras that I break and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I get all these questions all the time. Why not pursue that as well? And I think that's the thing I love about YouTube, is that there's so many opportunities to gain revenue to fund future endeavors if you look in the right places. For instance, selling metal detectors, or tagging different things in your videos that you're using, and writing a book, and all these different venues that kind of funnel into that really help out.
yeah, I mean, that's interesting, and like I said earlier with the book too, I have the link. All these links are down below. Everyone in the description. You can head on over there. Is there any tiny deals or something going on right now over at Treasure Mountain that you're aware of?
There is a GPZ on sale. Comes with a 19-inch coil. That is the coil to have. It'll find the gold the deepest. The only problem with the GPZ is you got to live in an area that produces gold to actually benefit from it.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, we got that going on, and you know what? We're always willing to work with people too. So just hit us up, give me a PM, or message me on YouTube, or email me, whatever it is. Get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Or Ed or Heath or anyone at Treasure Mountain.
Yeah.
And we're always willing to work with people. We try and stay extremely competitive, because we know what it's like to spend our hard-earned dollars, and we want to make people happy. End of the day.
Right. The whole monetization thing and monetizing your YouTube channel and stuff is something a lot of people are interested in, but it seems like these hobby niches and stuff, they get a fan base going, and then I think a lot of fans get turned off a little bit when they see a channel trying to monetize or trying to monopolize on offering services or goods or services and things, and I don't know if you've gotten any pushback on that at all, but I've seen it on other channels, and in my own channel, I have this thing going on here, and I'm with you. I'm thinking, I want to travel to England. Mm-hmm. I want to travel to go see Plugmaster Ford, and I want to go see Jason Quarter Hoarder, and I want to go, try to find Brad up there, Green Mountain Metal Detecting. I don't think I'll ever find him, but you know what I mean? I'd love to travel, go visit the Stealth Diggers sometime, try to, and I need funds for that. And how would I generate those funds? So either I'm going to have to pull them out of my own thing and then suffer personally for that. If I could find some way of generating some kind of income, either by
offset, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not going to be like a primary source of income, at least not for me. I know several people that are, and there's a lot of people that are growing exponentially.
Right.
That maybe someday, but when it comes to me, people ask me, well, do you want to do it full time? Like, I don't know. Does it come with healthcare benefits and retirement? Then no.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
But in the meantime, it allows me to get out and do some of the things that I enjoy, and hopefully share that with other people that enjoy it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's mutually beneficial. And yeah, I have had a lot of pushback in the past, like, I don't want to sit through a commercial, or God forbid, 2 of them. You got it one halfway through now. but
In the mid roll.
that happens. And then a while back, I remember being extremely, extremely irritated. I worked for about 6 months creating a small mini documentary about a meteorite hunt that we went on in Arizona. And I put it available through a pay to play type deal on YouTube. I think it was like $2 or something like that. Because I felt that I'd worked really hard on this, and like even independent filmmakers get to, you got to buy a movie ticket to go see it. So why can't I maybe do that? And the pushback I got was sickening and deflating and humiliating. And I honestly, I hung up my camera and I didn't make any videos for like 2 months. Just kind of pondering my place in the universe. And what it came down to is YouTube is a free venue. People want to keep it free. They don't come to YouTube to pay money. And that pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand it. As a creator, as an entrepreneur, that sucked. But there was a lot of people that stood behind me and said, you know what, I would buy it anyway. And I ended up offering it for free. It's still up on the channel for free, 45 minutes worth. And it's not like it was a huge production. I had one DSLR, some cell phones, and like a crappy GoPro gimbal or something. It wasn't like the production to end all productions, but I put a lot of time.
Right. Yeah, it is a great watch if you guys get a chance to go watch it. And well, I'm glad you persevered through that, and I'm glad you did some soul searching, and you made your way back. Because I'm telling you, maybe people in chat can identify with this as well. But when we're looking to be motivated, and my buddy and Tony and I, we watch a lot of videos, and like I'll be working, I'll take lunch, and I'll pull up some videos and start seeing who's made videos recently and check out some stuff, and he'll text me and go, oh, did you see Dr.Tones' latest video and stuff? And it really is inspiring, man. It really, like, we're like, ooh, we really got to get out there.
I'm the same way too.
So
I try to watch it and stay as involved in the hobby as I can, and watch others. And it's like us. Like I'll get a call from Johnny Utah, and like, oh, did you see what the Hoover Boys just talking? I can't watch it. Like, oh yeah, I'll go check it out. And I will mention too, like especially with guys like the Hoover Boys, watching their channel grow, they're gonna pass me up, no problem. Here in a little bit, they're way more consistent. They find way better stuff more consistently. They upload consistent, and it's great. They do a great job editing. I think it's Kurt that edits all the videos. I'm not sure, but whoever is doing an excellent job, and is another fine example of what you can do with a cell phone and some GoPros and stuff, and just make a legit video that people dig. And it's really cool to see some of the other people in the hobby that are just gonna surpass me by far, I presume, like any day now, probably. So yeah, congratulations to them for staying diligent and putting up with some of the comments that we get and things like that. A lot of people, this as well. When you put yourself out there in front of everyone, you're gonna get some bruises sometimes.
Sure.
One of the comments that I hate, it just absolutely drives me insane, is oh, that's fake. That's a fake find. If I wanted to get YouTube views, it wouldn't be for the metal detecting hobby, because it's such a small niche of views. If I wanted to get YouTube views, I'd do like surprise eggs or children's videos or something.
Or kids toys.
Yeah. Like toy reviews or iPhone reviews or something like that, which I've thought about doing in the past, honestly, just because it would bring in additional income. But I'm not super passionate about it, so I ultimately fail.
Right. Well, look, I usually run these for about an hour. We've been on for almost an hour and a half. It's been flown by. I tell you, really appreciate you coming on with me and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put you on the side here for a little bit and kind of start closing things down and say goodbye to everyone. If there's anything you'd like to say to everyone in closing before I put you on the side here.
Just thanks you guys for tuning in, and I hope you all continue to support not only the community but each other in it. And I hope that you all make some astounding finds, and you all keep your health, because that's also really important, especially when you're trying to get up and down and dig and all that stuff. So stay healthy, stay friendly. I love all of you. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless.
Awesome. Brandon, hang on one second. I do want to say personally from me to you, thank you for giving up your time and coming on my show here at Digger Spotlight and being my guest tonight. I really have enjoyed having you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Okay, one second. Just hold on one second. I'll get back to you. All right, hey, everyone, I'm telling you, great guest, right? Great guest. Brandon Ray Neice, Dr.Tones. Been watching his videos for a long time. Just an awesome guest. And I want to say thank you. Thank you to those in the chat room tonight that have proposed all the great questions. I know I didn't get to them all, but I sure appreciate you guys coming along and being active in the chat. That's what it's all about. So hey, I'm going to close things down here, but don't go anywhere. The stream's going to run for 2 more minutes. You guys can finish up your conversations, give each other the business, tell what kind of metal detector you use down there, get in those metal detector wars. But hey, thanks a lot. Good to see the Hoover boys in here tonight, and all the people that came along to support Dr. Tones being on Digger Spotlight. So appreciate it. Everyone, have yourself a great week. I'll see you Sunday. Hopefully come check out my show on Sunday. If not, I'll see you the next guest I have on Digger Spotlight. I'll be announcing that soon. But I hope everyone has themselves a great night, and we'll see you next time. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. Have a good night.